Wait, did H3, so he released some shit? What did he do? Interesting. I'm definitely not watching a 2-hour video. That's insane. I do. Oh my gosh, a Mr. Beast video? Is this for real?
Every minute, one of these 20 contestants will be eliminated and lose half
Sparks,
$1 million.
Have you seen this new Mr. Beast video?
Start the timer.
How'd you fuck up?
What are we gonna do? Like, do we just stand here?
Every 60 seconds, someone gets eliminated.
The only context they have is what's displayed on their tablet. Let's see if they figure it out.
Vote
Just to
for
vote for
someone.
someone.
Who do you guys want to vote for?
Is it vote for someone to stay or someone to leave?
I don't know. Who are we gonna vote for?
I think I'm in shock.
Obviously,
All of our
to
numbers
leave.
are on there.
10 seconds to elimination.
Oh no!
I don't know, dog. That's insane. We didn't get any context.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
3, 2, 1. Since half of you could not agree on someone to eliminate, someone has to now randomly be eliminated.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Hopefully next round you can work together.
Rip this person. That
Oh my
sucks.
gosh.
No!
Oh my god!
I'm feeling nervous.
Every minute.
Sparks, you know what's crazy, dude? I just enrolled back in school. Well, I applied. I haven't got, like, accepted yet, technically. Okay, chemistry's fucked. I don't know why you would do that.
Someone will be eliminated. Start the timer.
So are they
In
just,
this video,
are they voting every time?
is not your friend. Constant pressure forces split-second decisions that could make or break your chance at winning $500,000.
If no one votes for anyone, then it's just odds. Yeah, more than half of us have to agree to drop one person.
Let's see if they can make a decision this time.
And the one thing that these contestants all have in common is that they competed and were eliminated in my global hit series on Prime Video, Beast Games.
I don't want to drop through this platform again.
And some of them even eliminated others to win money for themselves.
We gotta vote for the people who already have money from these games. It's 17, 12, and 2. Those are the 3 numbers.
Okay.
I feel like some people deserve to get eliminated if they took
Bro, yeah, I applied to this post-baccalaureate program for accounting. Because if I... if I can't become a professional YouTuber / streamer, being like a CPA, dude, I'm telling you, you get to work from home from wherever you want. It's so sweet. It's like all remote work these days. It's so epic. And that's all I want. It's just a job that I can do from home. And you make like pretty good money too, but mostly it's just the working from home shit.
Brian.
A couple people ain't experienced the drop yet.
With the fear of random elimination,
Everyone vote.
the contestants knew they'd have to team up to control
When do
the
you start
situation.
school? Are you like accepted and everything?
17.
We're gonna go 17.
Dang, poor 17.
And this is just one of 7 intense social experiments that these 19 contestants will face.
I don't know why I did that.
Where time is their #1 enemy. 5,
Oh my God.
4,
This is
3,
crazy.
2, 1. All right. Let's see if you guys can agree on who to eliminate.
Oh, come on, guys.
17 received over half the votes.
Let's go. Bro, I'll be your
I just
accountant.
wanted to give
Let's
him
do
the
it.
experience.
There are 18 of you
What are you
left.
going
Who was
studying
someone who won
chemistry for,
100,000?
Lev?
Start the timer. Let's make it 17.
So 12 took a bribe for 100 grand.
Snitch.
$100,000.
Let's go, baby.
It was clear that the best competitors in Beast Games would be the easiest targets.
Everyone knows that 12 got 100 grand.
Why you keep talking about me, bro?
You You got your loot, man. I'm voting 12.
So for the next few minutes, they work together to eliminate. Start the timer. Anybody they believe deserves to fall.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. I love you.
Oh, good dude. The first few days of school, they don't do
people
shit.
have now been
they
eliminated.
It's like syllabus day and everything.
This is crazy.
Did you expect something that wasn't insane?
And now I think we should mix things up. Guards, come on out.
Bro's literally got Squid Game like going on every single video.
A guard is now going to be going to each of your platforms and putting a bag on your head again.
Kidnapping's illegal, Jimmy.
We have a...
Bro, did you have to quit your job? Like, or no? Because I think I'm gonna start going part-time once I start school again. If I start school again, assuming I do.
reason.
What's the reason?
Yeah, what's the reason?
Bag 'em.
Here we go.
Oh, just like a general science degree? That's cool.
Contestants, take off your hoods. Welcome, everybody.
This is crazy.
We brought back the cubes from episode 3.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this can be interesting.
We're gonna give you the opportunity now to talk to each other privately.
Oh, baby, I'm about to be plotting out there.
Inside of each of your cubes is a phone that you can use to call any of the other players. Use this time to form alliances and pick sides, because we'll be eliminating
How do they
3
know
of
which
you
number?
after this. This
Oh,
might
on
be
the
your
iPad.
only opportunity to speak privately with each other. Please take advantage of it.
I'm not gonna call anyone.
Well, listen, Sparks. Oh my gosh. It's 2025 now. 9 years ago, I took STEM chemistry in high school. And I did pretty freaking well. So if you have any questions about chemistry, just ask.
Why?
I feel weird being disingenuous.
And do you think that's the right strategy?
No.
Number 10's decision to stay off the phone unfortunately made her the first target for everyone else.
Who are we going? Who are we going with?
Are you thinking 10?
Yeah. I'm feeling good about voting her out. Let's start 10 and then go from there.
That's an alliance right there. And spread the word, though.
So player 14 got busy plotting against number 10.
That's fucked up.
This is Amelia.
Hey, I've been hearing around. I feel like
The consensus has been 10.
Okay, yeah, works. Number 10's name is Jenny, and I have nothing against her, but everyone is saying that they're gonna vote for her.
While player 14's strategy was to turn everyone against number 10,
Hello?
This number 19. We taking out number 8 first.
player 19 had a
Hell
different
yes,
strategy.
player
She was
19.
trying to turn everyone into cubes against each other.
Hey, this is A.
This contestant number 19. Let's take number 10. Let's do 10.
So you guys are gonna vote out 10?
No, I just told her that because I'm making these fake alliances.
Oh.
I'm going for number 8 first, then number 10, then number 9.
Whoa.
I'm pretty much playing everybody against each other. They're not my real friends, so I don't care.
I just want to remind all of you that 500
How do you do stoichiometry? All right, let me look this shit up and remind myself. Is this a real thing, or are you just fucking with me? Well, you know what we need to watch, Sparks, actually? You ever watch Nile Red? Or Nile Blue? But Nile Red would probably be better.
$100,000 is on the line. Oh, yeah! This was your only chance to speak privately. I hope you are able to form alliances with each other. They will be crucial in this next part. Guards, bag their heads. Let's go back to the pillars. Take your bags off, start the timer. You guys know the deal. 60 seconds, one of you will go.
This is so scary.
Alright, we gotta watch it.
Notice how they're all quiet this time around.
First of all, I gotta change this because I'm not playing Persona yet. I'm just chatting.
This video has been sponsored by Nebula. Over the years, I've made
Sparks,
a
are you
lot of
back?
videos where I turn completely inedible things into food, and some of my favorite transformations have been things like turning plastic gloves into hot sauce and paint thinner into cherry soda. Something that I've been always wanting to do, though, is to try and turn styrofoam into cinnamon candy, and just like all of my other transformations, this might not immediately make sense. However, at least in theory, it should be possible, and this is because styrofoam is made from a plastic known as polystyrene, which in turn is built from a bunch of smaller molecules known just as styrene. On its own, styrene is kind of an interesting chemical, but what I think is more interesting is that it looks surprisingly similar to this, which is the naturally occurring chemical that gives cinnamon its smell and flavor.
We're doing a chemistry lesson. We're turning styrofoam into cinnamon candy.
The only difference is that this cinnamon flavor, known as cinnamaldehyde, has this small little part at the top, but other than that, it's pretty much the same, and it's really weird that such a small change can make it go from being a potential carcinogen to tasting like cinnamon. But either way, the moment that I saw this, I felt that it had to be possible to turn one into the other, and the plan that I came up with in my head was relatively simple. All I had to do was get some styrofoam and somehow break it down back into styrene, use some chemistry to turn it into cinnamon flavor, and then use that to make some hopefully tasty cinnamon candy. The only unfortunate part was that doing this in real life was going to be a lot more difficult, and I wasn't even sure if it would work, but as usual, I figured there was only one way to find out. But anyway, to get started, the first thing that I was going to need was some styrofoam, and just by...
The one thing I'll say about Nile Red is that he's a bit harder to learn from because he goes pretty quick and he doesn't really explain anything. But I think you'll get it.
Chance, when I was cleaning things up earlier in the week, I had found this entire bag of cups. I actually have no idea where I got them from or why I even had them, but I definitely wasn't using them for anything else, and I felt that they were kind of perfect for this project. So I decided to just go ahead and use them, and the first thing that I was going to have to do was get all the air out of them. This is because styrofoam in general is actually mostly air, and even though this cup looked and felt solid, it was at least around 95% empty space. All of this empty space actually makes it a pretty good insulator, and it makes it work really well to keep things hot or cold, but in my case, this extra volume was a problem. So I was going to have to get rid of it, which was thankfully pretty easy, and all I had to do was get this large dish, and to add a bunch of acetone nail polish remover. I then went and got the cup, and I carefully lowered it in, and almost immediately, I could see that it was releasing a bunch of small air bubbles. It was also making a really nice fizzing noise, which I thought was kind of satisfying, and as I kept pushing on it, it was slowly getting...
By the end of the video, he's going to eat this shit.
...eaten by the acetone. Then, over the next 15 seconds, the entire cup gradually disappeared, and eventually, I was left with this little puddle of goo. At this point, what I had was also clearly nothing like the styrofoam that I'd started with.
That's crazy that's all that's in a styrofoam cup. Just saying.
But what I think is interesting is that no reaction had actually taken place. Chemically, it was still exactly the same thing as styrofoam, which is made from a plastic called polystyrene, and the only difference was that it was no longer puffed up with air. This is because the acetone is able to partially dissolve the polystyrene, which softens it, and it allows all of the air to escape. This then left me with a bunch of plastic that was taking up at least 95% less space, and what I had to do next was just add the rest of the cups. So I continued adding them one by one, but I quickly realized that doing it like this was going to take a really long time, and I instead started throwing in a bunch at once. What was nice was that they still seemed to melt away just as quickly as the single cup, and again, I couldn't help but find this process oddly satisfying.
Yeah, I
However,
can see that.
Something that I should mention is that even though there was no reaction going on here, this was still letting off a bunch of acetone vapor, and having an open solvent like this is a big fire hazard. On top of that, the goo itself is absolutely horrible when it lights on fire because it'll stick to everything, and something very similar to this is used to make modern-day napalm.
And this is how the California fires started. That's how this video ends.
But with that being said, when the last cups eventually disappeared, I was left with this huge blob of polystyrene, which, as I just mentioned, was super flammable and really sticky. However, this was just because it was completely soaked with acetone, and to turn it into something that I could actually work with, I was gonna have to dry it out. So, I quickly poured off as much of the acetone as I could, and then I dumped out all of this goo onto a large baking tray. I also did my best to spread it out as evenly as possible, and again, I feel like it's important to mention that this was kind of a huge fire hazard. But either way, all I had to do now was just let it sit there and wait for the acetone to evaporate, and after a few days, this was what I was left with.
There we go.
On the outside, it looked like it was nice and dry, but what was kind of annoying was that on the inside, it was still pretty soft and gooey. This told me that if I ever wanted it to fully dry, I was gonna have to start breaking it apart, and this was thankfully pretty easy. It also had a really interesting texture, and in my opinion, it kind of felt like pulling apart a fresh quesadilla.
Oh, God, now I want a quesadilla. Ugh.
When I eventually felt that I'd split it apart enough, I'd let it dry for a few hours, and then I came back to it and split it apart again. I then repeated this process a few more times and left it overnight to fully dry, and in the morning, I was left with some nice and dry chunks of polystyrene. The only problem was that they were still way too big, and what I really wanted was some nice powder, so I just dumped them all into a blender. I then turned it on to the max setting, and they all immediately started getting torn apart. It was also kind of working, even better than I thought it would, and after just a couple of minutes, it already looked like it was a decent powder. The only part that I really didn't like was that I started seeing some acetone vapor condensing on the sides of the blender. I really thought that all of the acetone was gone, but clearly there was still some left over, and this was both annoying and potentially really dangerous. This is because if there was enough left, it could cause it all to gum up again, and in theory, it could also ignite and potentially cause the blender to explode. So I made the decision to pretty much immediately stop it, and what I had to do next was take a closer look at it. I had to be sure that stopping it early didn't leave a bunch of huge chunks in it, and it was actually way better than I expected. It was also pretty much exactly what I was hoping for, and it was just a nice pile of powdered polystyrene, and it definitely took up way less volume than all of the cups that I started with. Most importantly though, it was now in a form that was actually usable, and after over a week of waiting, it was finally time to try and turn this plastic into some hopefully amazing cinnamon flavor. So I decided to just immediately start, and the first thing that I was going to have to do was break down all of this polystyrene back into just styrene. Based on a little research, this...
Alright, are you taking notes, Sparks? Because this is where the real chemistry stuff starts. These are like... molecules, I think.
Also didn't seem too difficult, and I was able to find a few people on YouTube who had already done it, and I even found this really useful article that outlined the process in detail. This article also suggested using a catalyst called magnesium oxide, which I thought was kind of interesting, and I really wanted to try it out. So I decided to just go for it, and the first step was to get a flask and to carefully pour in all of my crispy polystyrene powder. Then on top of this, I added 65 grams of magnesium oxide, which, as I said before, was supposed to act as a catalyst. Theoretically, it probably would have been a good idea to mix it in, but I didn't really think that it was necessary, and honestly, I was feeling a bit lazy. So instead, I just quickly cleaned up the flask and got rid of any loose powder, and I started putting together the rest of the setup. To do this, I first added a short path condenser to the middle neck, and I sealed the other two with some stoppers because I wasn't going to need them. Then, at the other end of the condenser, I attached a vacuum adapter and a flask, and with all of this in place, the setup was very close to being done. The only other thing that I had to do was put a heating mantle under the reaction flask and to attach some water lines to the condenser, and at this point, it was good to go. So, when I felt that I was ready, I just cranked up the heating, and I waited for it to get nice and hot. For a while, though, it really didn't seem like very much was happening, and over the next 15 minutes, all it did was just shrink a bit. When I saw this, I started getting slightly worried that I'd potentially ruined things by not properly mixing the catalyst, but then almost right at that moment, I was greeted with a nice little puff of smoke. This was then followed by a lot more smoke, which started filling the entire setup, and I felt that this was a good sign. This because it showed me that something was for sure happening, and the polystyrene was clearly starting to break down. As far as I know, this was mostly happening just because of the heat alone, which was causing the long polymer chains of the plastic to slowly split apart.
You seeing this? You seeing these long polymer chains? They're splitting apart. Those microplastics, you know? See that? Take notes. It's going to come up in class.
At the same time, though, all of the magnesium oxide catalyst was supposed to be helping with this process and making it go a lot faster. The only unfortunate part was that right now, it didn't seem like any of this smoke was actually styrene, and I think it was mostly just smaller fragments of the polystyrene. To fully break it apart and to get single molecules of styrene, I was gonna have to keep heating it and to let it cook a bit more. So I just kept going, and as it slowly got closer to 400 Celsius, or 752 Fahrenheit, it actually started making some liquid, which was really nice to see. This because, in theory, this was supposed to be mostly styrene, and now, I basically just had to wait. So I just let it sit there, and over the next few hours, I slowly collected some murky yellow liquid. Eventually, though, it completely stopped coming over, and when I looked over at the other flask, I saw that there was pretty much nothing left. It was now just a bunch of black crust, which was probably mostly the catalyst, along with a small amount of tar. This was a very good sign that pretty much all of it had been converted, and at this point, the reaction was definitely done. So I turned off all the heating, and I went back over to the other flask that was filled with my beautiful yellow liquid. As I mentioned before, this was supposed to be mostly styrene, and I was pretty happy with how much I got, but considering that pure styrene is clear and colorless, this was obviously full of a bunch of other trash. I was definitely going to have to clean it up a bit, and to get started with this, I quickly poured it all into a separatory funnel. This then caused it to separate into two layers, where the bottom one, as far as I know, was mostly just water, and I'm not entirely sure where it came from. It really didn't matter though, because it was all just trash, and to get rid of it, I just quickly drained it away. This left me with some yellow liquid, which was still pretty much just as dirty as it was before, and to continue cleaning it, I poured it all into a beaker. Then into this, I started adding a bunch of white powder called sodium sulfate, and I was hoping that it would pull out any water that might have still been there. I was also hoping that this would get rid of all of the cloudiness, and when I came back to it about 20 minutes later, it was nice and crystal clear, which I was really happy to see. The only unfortunate part was that the sodium sulfate hadn't just magically taken away the yellow color, and there was obviously still a bunch of garbage in here. So I was still going to have to clean it up a bit more, and to do this, I started by pouring it into a funnel that had some cotton at the bottom. This would block out any sodium sulfate that I might have accidentally transferred over, and everything was getting filtered directly into a fresh round bottom flask. Then, when it all eventually passed through, I got rid of the funnel, and I quickly put together pretty much the exact same setup as before. The only difference this time was that I included a thermometer, which in this case was gonna be extremely important. With everything in place, I then cranked up the heating.
You see that thermometer? It's going to tell the temperature, and then it's going to tell him how hot it is in there, and then it's going to show him what the temperature it is, so then he can take out the styrene.
And within just several minutes,
just basic chemistry stuff. Like I would like you'll learn this soon, you know. But it's pretty complicated at the end of the day. You know, I'm not expecting you to get this first time, but just, you know, get the general idea in your head, general look, general feel of how chemistry works. That's all.
It had already started boiling. There was also some vapor that was quickly traveling up the column, and when it eventually made it to the condenser, I started collecting some colorless
now that looks pretty
and
clear
crystal
to me.
clear drops of liquid. This was really good to see because it showed me that the distillation was definitely getting rid of that nasty yellow stuff, except what was sad was that this wasn't actually styrene. It was just some random side product, and I knew this because the temperature on the thermometer was only around 40 C, and this told me that the vapor that was coming over was only barely warm. It wasn't even close to being hot enough to be styrene, which would be well over 100 C, and I was just going to have to wait for the temperature to slowly rise. So I just sat there watching it gradually collect more and more clear liquid, and when it eventually got to around 100 C, it started to look a bit milky. It was also around this point that I started getting more and more nervous that the temperature just wouldn't stop increasing, and that somehow there wasn't actually any styrene here, and I probably worry like this during most of my distillations. However, eventually, it thankfully ended up stopping at exactly 142 C, or 288 Fahrenheit, which was extremely close to the
It's not about being
point of
smart,
styrene.
Sparks, you
This
know.
told me that
It's just
now,
lived experience,
everything that was
really.
coming over
at the end of the
was
day.
probably some nearly
I've watched a
pure
lot of NiaRed
styrene,
videos.
so I quickly got rid of this flask that was filled with junk, and I swapped it out for a fresh one. At the bottom of this flask, I also included a very small amount of something called 4-tert-butyl catechol, which would help stabilize the styrene and prevent it from spontaneously turning back into polystyrene. But anyway, at this point, I just had to do a bit more waiting, and over the next 30 minutes, all of the styrene slowly distilled over. During this time, I also carefully watched the temperature, and when it started to rise again, I knew that the distillation was done. So I turned off the heating, and I carefully removed the flask, and what I had now was just a bunch of nice and clear liquid, and it was kind of weird to think that this used to be a bunch of styrofoam cups. With that being said, though, based on just the smell and the boiling point alone, I was 99.9% sure that this was styrene, but to be 100% sure, I was going to have to do a couple tests. These tests were also relatively quick to do, and I just had to run a small amount of it through these two little instruments that I have, where the first one does something called FTIR, and the second does something called HNMR. I then got these results, which may or may not mean absolutely nothing to you, but together they told me that this was for sure styrene, and that it was relatively pure. So now, knowing this, I was able to move on to the next step, and what I think is interesting is that even though all of this styrene just smelled like plastic and kind of gave me a headache, it was actually pretty close to being cinnamon flavor. In theory, I was really only one step away, and the only thing that I was missing was this small section here. This meant that I was, of course, going to have to somehow add it, and while it didn't look too complicated, it was going to be the most difficult part. With a simple Google search, though, I quickly found this on Wikipedia, which claimed that it was possible using something called the Vilsmeier-Hawk reaction. Finding an actual procedure...
Alright, take a note of that. Vilsmeier-Hawk reaction.
Unfortunately wasn't
more like the Vilsmeier-Hawk-Tua reaction.
as easy, but after searching for a while, I was thankfully able to find one in this paper, and it was even better than what I was hoping for.
I'm so funny, fuck.
So I decided to just go ahead and try it out, and to get started, I went and got a fresh flask, and I added 70 mils of a solvent called dimethylformamide,
posted on Livestream
or
Fails.
DMF for short. Then after that, I added a stir plate and a large dish filled with ice, and I dropped in a stir bar. I also turned on the stirring and added a thermometer, as well as an addition funnel and a stopper. With all of this in place, I then had to wait for the DMF to cool down, and in the meantime, I went and got another chemical called phosphorus oxychloride. This is honestly kind of a horrible chemical, and it's both really corrosive and kind of toxic.
I'm gonna go grab some
but
chips.
It was exactly what I needed to make my cinnamon flavor, and I added about 37 grams to the addition funnel. I then carefully sealed the top and went to take a look at the thermometer, and it was extremely hard to see, but it showed that the DMF was now less than 10 degrees Celsius. This meant that it was good to go, and when I felt that I was ready, I carefully opened the addition funnel and I unleashed the phosphorus oxychloride. I then did my best to adjust it so that it would get added at a slow but steady rate, and what I had to do now was just closely watch the temperature to make sure that it never went above 20°C. This is because if this happened, the reaction could potentially get out of control, and while it wouldn't just explode or something, it could cause the entire thing to boil over. What I did think was kind of interesting, though, was that it didn't really look like very much was happening, and it almost looked like I was just adding water to more water. However, in theory, the nasty phosphorus oxychloride was supposed to be reacting and combining with the DMF to make a new molecule, which is known as the Vilsmeier reagent. This was supposed to be the main active ingredient in this reaction, and in just a few minutes, it's gonna make a lot more sense why I'm making it. With that being said, when it was eventually all added, I got rid of the addition funnel, and what I had to do next was just let it stir for a bit to make sure that it had all reacted. While I was waiting, though, it was the perfect time to go and get all of the styrene that I just made, and to measure out the amount that I needed. When I was first planning this reaction, I was really tempted to just risk it all and use everything, but at the same time, I knew that was a horrible idea. This is because there have been way too many times where a reaction has just totally failed on me, and considering that I'd never done this one before, I didn't really have the confidence. So in the end, I decided to go with only 27.5 mils of the styrene, which was about 1/3 of what I had, and this would give me a couple more attempts if this ended up being a complete failure. With that being said, at this point, the Vilsmeier reagent was definitely ready, and the next step was to slowly add all of the styrene.
Oh shit.
So I started by pouring in just a small amount, and at first, it really didn't look like much was happening. It really seemed like it was just going to be another step where it would feel like I was just mixing water with water, except eventually, it actually started changing color. This told me that there was definitely some sort of reaction going on, and in theory, the styrene should have been attacking the Vilsmeier reagent and forming a bond with it. This would then lead to the formation of this new intermediate, which was basically a combination of both molecules, and now, it was starting to look a bit closer to cinnamaldehyde. What I also thought was interesting was that this intermediate technically had a...
Bro, I've been introduced to this brand of chips. This is the honey butter with cheese chip. I think the regular honey butter is better. It's the same brand. But I got this one today to try it. And they're both so good. I like the thinnest, crispiest chips. They're sweet and savory. This one's the cheese one is a bit saltier. But I mean, oh god, it's just so good. It's just so good. Unfortunately, I don't know what they're called because it's all in Korean. And I don't read Korean. But yeah, dude, they're so good. They're Korean honey butter chips, and they're fucking delicious.
The second form that existed at the same time, and this will be important later on. But anyway, what I had to do next was make sure that everything fully reacted here, and to do that, I was gonna have to heat it up. So I just quickly pulled out all of the ice, and I replaced it with some water, and I added another thermometer. I then cranked up the heating, and as it warmed up, the color of it gradually shifted to orange, and then to something that kind of looked like some tasty cranberry juice.
Ooh.
It was, of course, still just a bunch of toxic and carcinogenic chemicals, though, and despite how good it looked, it would have been an...
I will be eating celery on stream later, yes. That is happening. I'm going to go downstairs. After this video, I'm gonna wash and cut the celery. I'll come back up. I will eat the celery. Then I will finish both my celery and cookie videos. I'm not doing the pull-up videos at the moment because I hurt my wrist pretty bad. I'm staying off the wrist for a little while, but both those videos will be coming out tonight. Yes.
An absolutely horrible idea to taste it. But anyway, it eventually got to 55C, and according to the procedure, this was when it was supposed to suddenly start heating up. It also said that it could potentially heat up so much that it needed to be cooled, but for whatever reason, that didn't seem to happen. It did look like it was slowly getting darker though, which told me that more of it was definitely reacting. So I gave it about half an hour to make sure that I didn't cause some sort of disaster, and when it seemed safe, I cranked the temperature even higher. It then continued to slowly heat up, and over the next 45 minutes, it got even darker. In fact, by the time that it got to around 75C, it was nearly black, and at this point, the reaction was probably...
I should turn cookies into celery. I don't know if that's possible. I'll have to keep watching some Nile Red videos and look on Wikipedia, see if there's any reactions for that. But I've never heard of cookies to celery.
Really close to being done. Just to be absolutely sure that everything had reacted though, I had to let it sit like this for another hour. When I came back to it, I was kind of surprised to see that it had gotten even darker, and now I was ready to move on to the final step of the reaction. So I just quickly took apart this entire setup and poured everything into a beaker.
No, dude, I'm serious. First of all, I can do 13 plus pull-ups, okay? That's not the issue. But the doctor said that I most likely bruised the deep tissue in my wrist. They don't think it's fractured, which is good. But it does hurt to put weight on. Like, I can move it like this and it doesn't really hurt, but if I go too bad, like that hurts. If I go like that, that hurts, you know? If I stretch it too much, if I put weight on it, it hurts. I think it happened rock climbing. And then I went snowboarding the next day. And I fell on my wrist a lot because I'm not very good at snowboarding, which did not help my already injured wrist. And so now it is probably going to take like at least another week to heal, probably. Which means I gotta do like a leg day at the gym, probably. Or just cardio, I don't know.
That was surrounded by ice. This is because what I had to do now was pretty much the opposite of the previous step, and I had to cool it as much as possible. I was going to have to get it as close to 0C as I could, and while I was waiting, I also had to mix together another solution. So I went and got a beaker, and I added 340 mils of water, followed by 133.5 grams of something called anhydrous sodium acetate.
For real.
I then started mixing it around to get it to dissolve, and after only a few minutes, it had pretty much...
Like, icing really only does good, like, right after the injury, you know? It's not gonna do me much good right now.
Which all disappeared. With this ready, I was able to go back and check on the other stuff, which, during this time, had partially solidified. When I saw this, I was a bit concerned that this might be an issue, but at the same time, I figured that it was probably fine. It was also around 0C, which was...
What's concerning is that he's talking about being almost done, and we're only 24 minutes into the 52-minute video.
Exactly what I wanted, and I decided to just go with it. So I started by adding a very small amount of the sodium acetate solution, and almost immediately, it thankfully started loosening up. I was very happy to see this, But at the same time, it was also starting to heat up quite a bit, and I had to make sure that it stayed cool. What was supposed to be happening here, though, was pretty exciting, and all of the water that was in the solution I was adding should have been attacking the intermediate from before. More specifically, it should have been attacking this form of the intermediate, causing a portion of it to get kicked off, and leading to the formation of the final cinnamaldehyde. Also, as a side note, all of the sodium acetate that was in the solution I was adding wasn't just doing nothing, and it was there to act as something called a buffer, which would help keep the pH constant, and this was very important for this reaction. When I was eventually done adding it, though, I let it stir for a bit longer, and when it looked like the color stopped changing, I pulled it out of the ice bath. I then carefully placed it into a hot water bath that I'd preheated to 75°C, because again, I apparently had to heat it up.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I never have the injury stuff I need when I get injured. And then by the time, like, I can go and get it, it's already a little bit too late. I just need to, like, order that shit ahead of time. That's so smart.
However, this was thankfully going to be the last time that I had to do this, and it was just to be absolutely sure that it all reacted. This way, I'd be able to get as much of the cinnamaldehyde as possible, I mean, assuming that the reaction was actually working. When I came back to it about 15 minutes later, it looked pretty much the same, and the only difference was that it seemed to be a bit clearer. At this point, though, it should have finally been done, and the only thing left to do was to put it in the fridge and to let it cool down. I then left it overnight, and in the morning, when I opened the door, I was hit almost immediately with the really nice smell of cinnamon. At the same time, I was also really excited and kind of surprised by what I saw, because on the surface, there was now what looked like a thick layer of oil. It was very possible that this was almost entirely cinnamaldehyde, and this was a really good sign. The only unfortunate part was that all of this potential cinnamaldehyde looked like it was black, and it was clearly full of a bunch of nasty junk. So even though it was kind of tempting, tasting it like this would have been an absolutely horrible idea, and I was definitely going to have to clean it up. On the bright side, this was supposed to be a relatively straightforward process, and the first step was to pour it all into a separatory funnel.
Of course.
On top of this, I then dumped in 100 mils of a solvent called diethyl ether, which was immediately able to mix with the oily layer on top. I then sealed it with a stopper and carefully took it off the stand, and I started shaking it around. I was doing this to try and force the diethyl ether and the water to mix, which should help the ether pull out any cinnamaldehyde that might have been stuck in the water. When I eventually felt that I'd shaken it enough, I put it back on the stand, and over the next few minutes, it separated into two layers again. This time, though, the bottom water layer was a lot clearer, which was good, and it told me that the ether had probably pulled out some cinnamaldehyde. With this in mind, I then carefully drained away all of this red water, and I took the ether oil mixture that was left in the funnel, and I poured it into a beaker. Then after that, I put all of the water back into the separatory funnel, and I added some ether, and I repeated the exact same extraction process.
Bro, you like that separatory funnel? I fucking love the separatory funnel.
I was doing this just to make sure that I got out absolutely everything, and when I was done, I was left with a beaker full of nice red liquid. Most of this was just all the ether that I had added, and only a small amount was the oil that I actually wanted, but what was important was that it was already a lot cleaner than what I'd started with. The only unfortunate part was that there was for sure still a bunch of trash in it that I was going to have to get rid of, and to get started with this, I had to pour it all back into a separatory funnel. I then dumped in 100 mils of regular water, which almost immediately turned yellow, and this told me that it was definitely pulling out a bunch of crap. In particular, though, I was really hoping that it was removing any DMF, which was in the original reaction mixture, and that was for sure picked up by the ether. I also wanted to be absolutely certain that all of this DMF was gone before moving on, and the easiest way to do this was to just wash it with a huge amount of water. So I decided to repeat this same washing 5 more times, which should have been more than enough, and by the end, the water was almost colorless. This meant that it probably wasn't pulling out much of anything anymore, and I quickly drained away all of the water. I then took all of my slightly less red liquid, and I transferred it all to a flask, and I set it up for a distillation. I then cranked up the heating, and I was doing this to get rid of all of the ether, and only a few minutes later, it was already boiling. After that, it only took about 30 seconds to start collecting some crystal clear ether in the beaker, and now, I just had to wait for it all to pass over. This wasn't going to take very long though, and only about 20 minutes later, it was pretty much done. What was left in the flask was now a super dark and goopy liquid, and again, it didn't really seem like it, but this was theoretically cleaner than the oil I started with. To get pure cinnamaldehyde though, there was just a bit more cleaning to do, and I felt that the easiest way to do this was to just do another distillation. So I just carefully transferred all of it to a much smaller flask, and I quickly put together pretty much the same setup. The only slight difference this time was that instead of collecting everything in a beaker or a single flask, I was going to have to use 3 flasks, and I also had to attach a vacuum line. All of this extra stuff kind of made it look a lot more complicated, but it was still more or less the same thing, and it'll all make sense in a bit. In any case, when I felt that I was ready, I turned on my vacuum pump, and I carefully pulled all of the air out of the setup. I also cranked up the heating, and only a few minutes later, I saw that it was already starting to boil. The vapor was also starting to climb out of the flask, and it wasn't long before I started collecting a nice and colorless liquid. This was very exciting, and I was very happy to see that it wasn't a nasty red color, except just like last time, I knew for sure that it was unfortunately just trash. This is because when I looked at the thermometer, I saw that it was only around 30°C, which was still way too low for it to be cinnamaldehyde. The temperature was continuously rising though, which was good, and I just had to patiently wait until it got to the boiling point of
You talking about using AI to write your essays, write your papers?
Cinnamaldehyde. The only tricky part was that because this was all being done under a vacuum, the boiling point of cinnamaldehyde was going to be much lower than its normal temperature of 248°C or 478 Fahrenheit. Instead, it was probably going to be around 100°C or 212 Fahrenheit, which was a value that I got using this online calculator, but it was very hard or even impossible to perfectly predict. This made me a bit worried that I would have trouble differentiating it from the junk that I had to separate it from, but there really wasn't too much that I could do about this. It was also absolutely not an option to do it without a vacuum and in the presence of air, because this would cause a lot of the cinnamaldehyde to just get oxidized and destroyed. So all I could do was just continue patiently waiting and watching the temperature.
I still don't know what stoichiometry is.
And to hope that it magically stopped at 100°C. However, long story short, that didn't happen, and it ended up going right past it and stopping at 125°C, which was a lot higher than I expected. As I just mentioned, though, the boiling point under a vacuum is always hard to predict.
I should never have questioned your ability to write.
And it was very possible that cinnamaldehyde was now coming over. What also made me think this was that when I looked at it much closer, it seemed to be faintly yellow, just like pure cinnamaldehyde, and I decided to just commit to it.
Hell yes.
So I carefully twisted the end of the setup, which allowed me to swap the flask without releasing the vacuum, and now I was fully separating this fraction. I then continued collecting this yellow oil and carefully watching the temperature, and over the next hour, the flask slowly filled up.
That's
at some point,
right there.
The temperature suddenly dropped, which told me that some higher boiling point stuff was going to start coming over, and when I looked back at the original flask, it looked like all that was left was some red junk. At this point, the distillation was done, and I was almost certain that what I had now was some nice and relatively clean cinnamaldehyde. The only part that kind of concerned me was that it was definitely way more yellow than pure cinnamaldehyde should be, and the idea of tasting it like this was honestly making me uncomfortable. So just to be safe and to put my mind at ease, I was unfortunately going to have to clean it up a bit more, and to do this, I quickly put together this fresh and clean distillation setup. I then...
Man, I've been saying that I would do a Sonic 3 review, and I haven't. Oh my gosh. Where do I even begin? Here, let me get my thoughts together. We'll finish this video. I'm gonna go downstairs right now. Start cutting up and cleaning my celery. And then once we're done with all that, I'll give my Sonic 3 review.
And cranked up the heating, and it really wasn't long before some drops started coming over, and this time, I decided to collect a decent amount before swapping the flasks. This would just really make sure that I got rid of any impurities, and when I felt that I'd sacrificed enough, I switched it to the second one. What I was collecting now should have been extremely pure cinnamaldehyde, and what was very nice to see was that it was definitely a lot less yellow. I then just kept going and waiting for the temperature to suddenly drop, and when I saw this happen, I quickly switched it to the third flask. I also turned off the heating as well as the vacuum pump, and at this point, I was finally done. After weeks of work, I now had the beautiful pale yellow oil that I was hoping for, and I carefully started transferring it all to a vial. As I did this, I was also hit almost immediately with the super nice and sweet smell of cinnamon, and by now, I was pretty much 100% sure that this was pure cinnamaldehyde. However, if I was gonna taste it, I was of course gonna have to be absolutely sure, so I went ahead and ran some tests on it. Like the styrene, I did both an FTIR and an HNMR, and this was what they gave me. Again, it might not mean anything, but together they showed me that this was for sure cinnamaldehyde and that it was quite pure, and I was very happy to see this. This is because now, after all of this work, I could finally taste it, and I wouldn't have to worry too much about it instantly killing me. I should say, though, that there was still a chance that it contained something horrible that didn't show up on the NMR, and in general, it's not a good idea to taste any homemade chemicals. But either way, I just pulled out a small amount of it, and I sucked it into my mouth.
Well. Okay. Definitely cinnamon. But it kind of tastes good. It doesn't burn nearly as much as I thought pure cinnamon oil would. And it's also kind of sweet. Every other flavor I've had just tastes horrible or weirdly enough burns my mouth, even when it's supposed to just taste like grape or something. But this is supposed to burn, and it doesn't even burn that much. It's kind of interesting.
Okay, so I for sure had some nice and tasty cinnamon oil, but more importantly, it was now finally time to try and make some candy with it. Specifically, though, I really wanted to make little cinnamon hearts, which have always been one of my favorite candies, and I wanted them to look as close as possible to the classic ones that I grew up with. The only tricky part was that I quickly found out that to make them like this, it was a lot harder than I thought, and it was also going to be extremely expensive. However, long story short, I ended up spending an obscene amount of money, and a couple of months later, I was the proud owner of this customized candy making machine. More accurately, though, it was mostly just the rollers that were customized, and there were little hearts carved out into each of them. They were also the exact size and shape that I wanted them to be, and right now it might not be super obvious how this is used to make candy, but it'll make a lot more sense in a few minutes. With that being said, now that I had the machine, I was finally able to get started, and the first step was to get a pot with a thermometer attached to it. Then into this, I poured in half a cup of water, followed by 2 cups of regular table sugar, and a 1/4 cup of corn syrup. This was apparently all that was needed to make hard candy, and from what I could tell, the only difference between most recipes was the proportion of each ingredient. The specific recipe that I was using, though, was from this video made by the channel Flavor Lab, and I just felt that it looked good. But either way, with everything added, I quickly mixed it around, and when I eventually felt that it looked nice and even, I turned on the cooktop and cranked up the heating. I then just had to leave it and wait for it to warm up, and to carefully watch the thermometer. This is because as it got hotter, and as the water in it slowly boiled away, the temperature was supposed to slowly increase. According to the Flavor Lab video, this would gradually bring the candy through several stages, where the first one was referred to as softball. What I needed, though, was hard crack, which would occur between 290 and 310 Fahrenheit, and this would give me candy that was hard like a lollipop. So I just let it go, and over the next 20 minutes, the temperature slowly rose, and eventually, it got to the 290 mark. I decided to let it go a bit further, though, until about 300 Fahrenheit, and the moment that I saw this happen, I turned off the heating and got rid of the thermometer. At this point, the base candy should have been ready, and it was time to give it some flavor. So I went and got all of my precious cinnamon oil, and I carefully pulled out 3.7 mils, which ended up being most of it. I then quickly shot it into the still super hot sugar, and I thought that it was kind of interesting to see it just sit on top and basically do nothing. However, this was only because the boiling point of cinnamaldehyde was way higher than 300 Fahrenheit, and with most other flavors, shooting it in like this would probably be a bad idea. Regardless of that, I was now super close to being done, and there was just one last, but extremely important ingredient to add. This was, of course, some potentially carcinogenic red dye, which was absolutely essential to make proper cinnamon candy, and I felt that several drops would be enough. I then quickly mixed it around, and in less than a minute, it had a nice red color, but I wanted it to be even stronger, so I dumped in a whole bunch more. After this, I was actually able to get the exact red color that I was looking for, and at this point, things were looking really good. I was starting to feel a little nervous, though, because what I had to do next was the actual hard part, and I was kind of worried that I would completely screw it up. However, I chose to instead just not think about it, and I pulled the sugar off the cooktop, and I quickly poured it onto some silicone. I then started moving it around while it was cooling down, and eventually, it was supposed to turn into something that was kind of like bread dough. Long story short, though, that didn't happen, and I did completely screw it up, and instead of getting something that was soft and malleable, I got something that was filled with a bunch of hard chunks. The moment that I saw this, I honestly started to panic, and I really started worrying that I had just lost the majority of my cinnamon oil.
Totally failed. It's simple as that. I failed. You know? Pack up our bags. That's it. That's our candy. This is it. That's the cinnamon candy.
That's fucked. That's so sad.
What made things even worse was that I couldn't find anything about this online, or how to fix it, and it really seemed like I was just gonna have to restart. At the same time, though, I felt that there had to be a way to remelt it without burning it or completely destroying it, and I figured that it was at least worth a try. I also felt that I had to at least make an attempt to not just lose the majority of my cinnamon oil, and in my mind, the best first step was to very carefully break apart all the sugar.
No!
This gave me some nice little pieces, which I was able to put all back into the pot, and then I put this back onto the cooktop. On top of this, I also shot in a random amount of water, as well as a completely arbitrary amount of corn syrup, and I cranked up the heating. I then just waited for it to melt, and what I was hoping for here was that all of the extra water would help prevent the sugar from burning, and that the extra corn syrup would make it take longer to harden. The only thing that kind of concerned me was that heating it again would potentially cause it to caramelize, and by the time that it got to 300 Fahrenheit, it was looking a lot frothier than before. It also looked like it was turning brown, which really scared me, but it seemed like it was mostly just because the food coloring was breaking down. So I just blasted in some extra red color and mixed it around, and very quickly all of the froth disappeared, and it actually looked really good. This time, though, I wasn't going to let it cool down at all, and I almost immediately pulled it off the cooktop and started pouring it out. Compared to before, it was definitely way more liquidy, which I felt was good, and I did my best to constantly move it around. While I was doing this, I was also still really worried that I would end up just getting a bunch of solid chunks again, but that thankfully didn't happen. Instead, over the next several minutes, it just slowly got thicker, and eventually, I had pretty much exactly what I wanted. It was just a blob of gooey sugar, which felt almost shockingly similar to hot bread dough, and I was happy to see that my recovery attempt had actually worked. There was unfortunately almost no time to celebrate this, though, because I still had to turn all of this sugar goo into some nice little cinnamon hearts before it cooled down, and it was time to use my machine. From what I saw online, it also seemed super straightforward, and I basically just had to throw it into the rollers and then squish it. So that was exactly what I did, and for the most part, it seemed to be going pretty well, and I was super happy to see that it was forming some beautiful little hearts. The only weird part was that it was a lot more difficult to turn than I thought, and I think this was because the sugar that I was putting in had cooled down a bit too much.
This needs to be, like, anchored to the ground.
I also might have been just going too slow, which was causing it to solidify, and I was only able to squish half of the sugar before it became way too hard.
Okay.
So I ended up having to basically just give up trying, and it was honestly kind of impressive how badly I had screwed up this entire process. Despite that, though, it wasn't like it was just a complete failure, because I was still able to get a bunch of little hearts, and they were actually super nice. To get them apart, I also just had to apply a bit of force, and they all easily crumbled, which I thought was really satisfying.
That is very satisfying.
After that, I then spent a couple minutes breaking apart the hearts that were still stuck together, and at this point, I was extremely close to being done. In theory, there was just one last step, which was to coat the candies with more sugar, and to give them that classic look that I
actually am going to use the bathroom now.
I had actually even bought an entire machine to help me do this, but after seeing how nice they were without a coating, I decided to keep them this way. There was just something that I really liked about them like this, and now, after months of working on this project, I was finally done.
Finally done. And I think there's only one thing left to do. After all of this work, I can see, was it all worth it for this? We'll see. Okay. It tastes, I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised. It tastes exactly like cinnamon candy. It's really good. It has pretty much the exact flavor that I wanted. It's not too much cinnamon, not too little. It's a very nice, mild cinnamon candy. The only thing that I think is, that kind of threw me off, normally they just crunch. But this one, it's a bit more chewy. It's kind of like I just made Cinnamon Heart Jolly Ranchers, basically. Oh, that one was crunchy for some reason. And more cinnamony. Okay, I clearly need to refine my candy skills. But overall, I'm honestly kind of amazed at how well they turned out.
Okay, so in the end, and despite an almost impressive lack of candy making skill, I think I can still call this project a success. I mean, I was actually able to turn a bunch of old styrofoam cups into some nice little cinnamon candies, and even though they weren't exactly perfect, I'm still really happy with them. What will also be fun is that in the future, I do plan to revisit this whole candy making process, and I have at least a few projects that I think are going to be really interesting. However, in the meantime, I'll be taking a little break from candy, and I'm going to be focusing on some more dangerous projects, like turning air into a bomb. This is actually a video that I was probably never going to make because I know that YouTube would definitely not like it, but I'm happy to say that it's now possible thanks to Nebula, who's also the sponsor of this video. For anyone who hasn't already heard of Nebula, it's a creator-owned and operated video streaming service with content from hundreds of creators like The Thought Emporium, Tierzoo, and Real Engineering. It also has a huge catalog of Nebula originals, which includes shows, films, and documentaries, as well as exclusive bonus content from many creators, and it's all delivered completely ad-free. Personally, I've been really enjoying the Travel Series
Alright, we
game
don't need to
Wendover.
watch the sponsorship. Sparks, are you ready? We're going to do this a little differently today. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to 1 to 5. And we're going to spin the wheel. Okay. I'm going to spin the wheel, see how many sticks of celery I have to eat. How do I spin it? Oh, I hit the spin button right there. Okay. Oh wait, that one doesn't count because I wasn't recording on my phone. I forgot to hit the record button, so we can't count that one, fortunately. Okay. Ain't no way. No! Oh gosh. Okay. Five? Hold on, I'm grabbing the 5 smallest ones. Don't tell anyone. They're pretty small. Okay, so here we go. Heard 1. Heard 2. There's 3. Yep. Bro. What? Someone is following me. What the hell? Thank you for the follow. Nagami. Fuck you. That was so much celery. Oh my god, he's Japanese. I don't know what that says. We will be playing Persona here in a minute, actually. I gotta get a couple things done first. Alright, so you've seen the first part. Now check this bit out. Watch this. So now I'm gonna we are on day, I believe, 116, I want to say. No, we're on day 118. Okay, I checked this out. So we're gonna select this first. Okay. Then we select the celery eating video. I'm going to select a few clips from that same video because it's a little too long. And then I'm going to select the moment that I shove them all into my mouth. And then I'm going to select the moment that I thumbs up the camera. And now I've got to think about what I want to say. And I usually come up with this shit on the spot, so bear with me here. This is day 118. So we're going to go. Yeah. Day 118 of eating a stick of celery every... No, sorry. That's wrong. Day 118 of eating a stick of celery until I have six-pack abs. Today, I decided how many sticks of celery I would eat by spinning a number wheel. The wheel landed on 5, so today I am eating 5 sticks of celery. This is because celery is negative calories. So by eating celery, I'm actually losing weight, and it's taking away from the other calories I've ingested during the day. This means that even while eating a whole bag of honey butter chips, I can still lose weight and get six-pack abs. Now we... Alright, that sounds great. So now I'm just going to add some captions real quick. And then we pretty much just post immediately. Now what do I call this video? I'm about to post. I'm thinking day 118 Mr. Beast level 6-pack abs celery challenge. Hashtag fitness. Hashtag diet. Hashtag fitness challenge. Hashtag what else? Hashtag gym. Hashtag exercise. Perfect. Now we gotta edit the thumbnail. Day 118. Make that real big. Related video. We'll do. We'll just do day 117. No, it is not made for kids. My content is definitely not appropriate for children. All right, now. Okay. I've already recorded my cookie picking up and putting back down. So today, I just have to film it. I already know what comment I'm going to respond to as well. Someone told me to shut up. Why would he say that to me? What a douchebag. Should I challenge him to a fight? Oh no, I think he was responding to someone. Okay, yeah, no, he's on my side, I think. He is on my side. I'm sorry, I totally misunderstood. I'm doing this cool new thing now where I flip the Kit Kats too. You'll see when I post it. It's pretty crazy. And then I'm gonna... the video of me walking out of the store as well. Alright. This one I'm pretty good at. I've done a lot more cookie videos than I have celery videos, so I should get this first try. I need to remember what day it is though. Day 178, I think. Okay, we got this. This one's pretty easy. I just have to talk about what the guy commented, respond to it, and then let people know what I'm doing. Day 178 of going to the store and picking up a cookie, then putting it back down and leaving. Why did I look at the Kit Kats and leave? Clearly, I picked up the Kit Kats and then left. Did you not watch the video? Because it was pretty obvious that I didn't just look at them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more daily uploads. And don't be like this guy. That's how we do it. Sounds good, sounds good. We add our captions now. Captions on these videos are white. Now this video, what do I call it? Is the question. Day 178, obviously. Insane. Nope. Insane Mr. Beast level cookie challenge. Hashtag diet. Hashtag exercise. Hashtag cookie. Hashtag Kit Kat. Day 178. I wish there was a way to like add a Mr. Beast image to the thumbnail. Really clickbait people a bit more. But I don't know how to do that, so I guess we're not. I'm not sure how you guessed what I was going to do today, but don't forget this. My ass hurts, dude. Fuck. Oh, God, why my ass hurts so much. Oh, Jesus Christ. Bruh. I think I need to... Oh, fuck. Okay, I need to do some laundry. I don't really want to do laundry right now. Let's hop into some Persona. Okay. It's time. It's time to Persona 5. Let's do this shit. Too good. Await the change of heart. That I can do.
Why are they so stupid?
Hey, how you doing? How's Kamoshida? Crazy, we already got our shit done. Is this the women's? Oh, let me try to go into the women's bathroom.
Oh.
I do a lot of thinking on the toilet. Clearly. Weird place for soccer balls, but okay. Everyone's giving me like all these ideas of things to do, but like I kind of want to find my own way, you know? I don't want to be beholden to the murmurings of my classmates. I guess I'm just different like that.
Ooh, looks like things are about to get interesting.
Where am I going anyway? Ah, I've made it. Hello, Mrs. Lady.
What do you want?
Oh, I can buy food. This is pretty shit food, lady. What are these guys talking about here? So I just gotta... I can do whatever I want, right? Is it after school? What's going on here? Oh my god, likes on the YouTube? What's happening? Thank you. Oh wait, I need to go say hi to the doctor lady. Oh my gosh.
Let's do it.
What? Oh, I guess I'll save. Sure, why not? That's what I need to do. Miss Doctor. Dude, alright, how do I get to her? Oh, not the station. It's literally harder. It's literally harder to get around on this station than it is in real life in Japan. I thought I could fast travel, actually. Alright, yeah, where's that doctor lady? Oh, right there. Let's go. Is this where she is? I think so, right? That's what the medicine thing is? No. That's a drugstore. Okay. Where the hell is this doctor? Okay. I'm clearly maybe a little bit lost, I guess. See where this one takes me. Yogen Jaya, okay. Check our map. Is that the doctor? do feel like the doctor was around here somewhere. There it is. I found it. Oh, gosh. Hello, miss.
Well,
Got any special medicine for me?
huh?
I have my reasons.
Oh. What are you trying to do?
Oh. I got my reasons, lady. I don't see why this is such a big deal. I'm a paying customer. The fuck you just say to me, bitch? I don't seem to be very athletic. It's for brain power. I like that.
Huh? Take care.
Can I work for it? Oh, yes. Dude, she is asking for it. I want it. I want it bad. Oh, she's just gonna use me as a guinea pig. That's not so bad.
Did you change your mind?
I'm drinking all this shit. Don't mind if I do. I love how it doesn't give me an option not to. Uh-oh. Does she think she just killed me? Oh no.
Good evening. Do you remember anything from the moment you took the medicine until now? By the look in your eyes, I'd say you don't. You briefly woke from your coma, but you were completely dazed during the entire examination. You eventually lost consciousness and fell back asleep. Are you out of your mind? Only an idiot would have drank that.
It's for my exams.
Fine. By the way, the reason you lost consciousness was because of the taste. It produces a foul smell when it mixes with gastric juices, similar to surströmming. Oh well. All that matters is that thanks to you, I was able to get some good data. Okay, it's my turn to make good on my part of the deal. That's why I waited until you woke up. I don't want the general public to know about my original medicines. So, you're strictly prohibited from disclosing what happens here to anyone. Understood?
Understood, ma'am.
Then it's a deal. As long as you come here for it, I'll give you the medicine at a good price whenever you want. I may even add additional selections in time. I look
I know
forward to your continued patronage.
I know where I'm getting my medicine from now on. Oh!
Considering all the actions you've taken, you must have had someone with medical expertise. Who? And how did you treat your wounds? It'll be easy to find out who if we look into this, you know.
I ain't telling you shit, bitch.
I am thou. Thou art I. Thou hast acquired a new vow. It shall become the wings of rebellion that breaketh thy chains of captivity. With the birth of the death persona, I have obtained the winds of blessing that shall
what
lead
persona?
to freedom and new power.
That's kind of intense.
All right.
So, when... Oh, well, I was saying that teenage test subjects are quite... So, I'll provide you the medicine for your entrance exams, and in exchange, you'll be my guinea pig. I have to perfect this medicine. If you're able to move now, you can go home. All right.
Okay, let's go. Increasing my guts, huh?
Hey. All right, take care.
Ah, you're back.
Hell yeah, I am. But I got a text message, old man, so shut the fuck up.
Hey!
Alright, yeah, let's do that.
Oh. Hey, hey! Hey, hey!
Yeah, bro, that's how it works.
Oh! And finished.
Do I not have to dry them?
Let's head back.
That's wild.
Morning! Crowded as ever today, huh? How do you like being packed in like sardines, city style? I don't mean to joke around. I just don't know. I get anxious unless I'm doing something. Yet, here I am, suddenly with nothing to do. It's... You're right. All we can do is believe and wait. Thanks. I feel better after talking. It's not good to be a downer in the morning.
No, it's
Well,
not.
let's have a great day today.
Yeah, you're really bringing my vibe down. Oh.
Really?
Oh wait, the change of heart is Kamoshida not here today again? Yeah, Kamoshida realizes what a piece of shit he is. And in classic Japanese tradition, he's gonna kill himself.
Oh, hey.
Maybe. I don't know what else to do, really. I mean... I got shit to do, so let's go do some shit. Oh, they just talking about the same shit as yesterday. Okay. Boring ass fucking people.
Aoyama Ichome. This is Aoyama Ichome. Platform number 2, service to Asakusa is departing soon. Please watch your step. Train doors are now closing. Please stand back.
Where can I fast travel from here? Oh, there's a gym. Maybe I could check that out. Get a workout in. Protein lovers. Oh, this is for me, yeah. I can't. Do some arcade games.
Oh.
Edwardson, hello, how are you? What the heck is this? I mean, that's cheap, I feel. Is it cheap? Alright, the arcade, honestly, kind of lame. There's nothing to do here. I want to play the gun game. Can I play this? The fuck is the point of the arcade, huh? Alright, what's this place?
What would you like?
To all allies. Oh. Do these go bad, do we think? Should I go get some ladies' phone numbers? Is that an option? Is that something that I'm allowed to do? Okay, I feel like... That's the Ginza line. Yeah, I feel like I gotta get to the JL lines. How do I get out of here? So there's a mall here.
What would you like?
Oh. I don't know if I need any of that stuff, to be honest. I feel like it is the blue line, right? Yeah, this gets me home, I'm pretty sure. Yogen Jaya, that sounds right. Let's do the batting cages again. That shit was fun.
Welcome. Good luck.
Woo!
Oh. Nice.
Damn.
Oh.
Ah.
Nice. Oh.
Here you go.
Oh.
I'll keep playing. One more. I think I got it this time.
Good luck.
Damn.
Yes.
Aw. No! Are you fucking kidding? Aw. So close. Literally so close.
Hey, hey.
Good luck.
At least we didn't miss.
Nice. Yes.
Oh. Right. Oh.
Here you go.
Yeah, whatever.
Nice going.
Wanna head back?
Ah, you're back. Hey. Ha. Well.
Making coffee, hitting on girls, probably making coffee. I think hitting on girls would have upset him a little bit. Who is it?
Whoa.
You. Who's this guy?
Jeez. Ha.
All right.
I don't even like coffee.
Well.
Let's go. Yeah, that's pretty gay. Calling a guy on his cell phone? That's gay as fuck, actually.
I got a chance to talk to this
Oh my
girl
God,
the other
Sparks.
day. We had an amazing conversation.
I promised you a Sonic 3 review. Well, listen, if you're still here, I'll do it. I'll do it right now, damn it.
We're gonna go out somewhere together soon.
Well, don't get ahead of yourself because it happened to go well. Look, knowledge isn't enough. You need proficiency to adapt on the fly. You also need kindness to be accepted, and guts to be honest and direct. Plus charm to draw people to you. The quality of your character says a lot about you. So it's important to better yourself every day.
Really? But
What
it
a
takes so much
loser.
work.
Holy shit.
But I'll do it if it means I'll get a girlfriend. I guess I'll start by showering every day. I hear girls prefer a dude who's hygienic.
Hey, this applies to
Of course.
you. Get it?
Morning.
Yeah, I got my girl right here. Lady Anne, her name.
just remembered. You.
What the hell? I've never learned this, have I? Alright, should I look this up? Four color theorem. That's what I was gonna guess. I just want to like be sure, but like I was gonna guess that no matter what. So
This is it.
Correct.
yeah, I am kind of smart. Just how I am.
Nice going.
Oh, hey. Hey. Wanna get going?
Alright, let's do it.
See ya!
Ah, you're back. All right then. Thanks.
Whoa!
I just want to know if you had a change of heart or not. I just want to know if it worked. That's it. That's really it.
Really?
Why the hell do you want to hit the batting cages so bad? Don't tell me what to do. Fucking bitch ass cat trying to tell me what to do. I'm gonna go say hi to my favorite doctor again. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna get there on the first time. First try this time. Oh my god, it's my birthday! Oh my gosh. so good at getting home now. This is my real part-time job.
Please head to the exam room. Well, which do you want? Oh, did you decide? Here you go. Take care.
Welcome.
I just want to hit that thing once, you know? Oh shit. Oh, I'm so bad.
Oh!
Good luck.
Yes! Nice!
Ah!
Oh!
Why is it so hard to hit this thing?
Nice!
Here you go.
Hey, hey!
Good luck.
Ah.
Okay. Hey, hey! Nice! Nice going!
All right.
Wanna head back?
Ah, you're back. All right then. Thanks.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to do something at the arcade, actually. What's going on?
Oh, hey. Hey.
Wanna get going?
Why the fuck is he having me meet him at the arcade if he just wants to work out in the schoolyard?
See ya!
Wasting my fucking time. That's what he's doing. Oh, what's this?
Ah, you're back.
I am back.
Hmm?
Alright. Douchebag. Where's the library?
How can I help you? What's the meaning of this?
Hey!
I have to stay in the neighborhood. Oh, lame. I can't even do my job at the library. Until I go to the library, sorry. I have to go to the library to get guts somehow? Like, ugh, I'm just gonna go to sleep. This is too much. Too much going on.
I've got a good idea.
Am I doing pull-ups or something? What the fuck was that for?
Okay. Oh!
Yeah, let's just go to sleep. Oh, a blue day.
Hey! 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 Hey!
So I'm too stupid to read this one. Alright, well then I guess I'm
Did
not
you
reading
change
shit.
your mind?
I need to get more books. I'll be needing to get some
Morning.
more books.
I wonder if Kamoshi. What if we failed? That's all I've been able to.
We have to believe.
We did do what we could. I guess all I can do now is believe. But how strange. I feel a bit better now. Maybe we'll be able to avenge Shiho. That's what I'll.
Awesome, Lady Anne. Oh.
Hi, everyone.
Why does she look like she's drunk?
Let's hear it.
Okay. As a literal foreigner, this should be fairly easy. Oh, fuck, I'm not German, though. Okay, I'm just kind of dumb, maybe.
This is it.
That's correct.
Oh, finally. Fuck. He's pretty smart. Yeah, no shit, guys.
Nice going. Alright, well, I gotta...
Really?
I gotta get to the library somehow. Where's the library at?
Excuse me? Man.
Hilarious.
What? Oh. Hey. Hey.
Let's do it.
Oh. Man.
Oblivious. Oh, that's like, I see, I see.
Wanna head back?
Ah, you're back. Yo,
Hey.
yo.
Hey. Wow. Hey.
Is this like a mini game?
Oh.
Or no? It doesn't look like it.
Yes. All right.
Let me explain.
Let's go.
Nice. Well then.
All right. Is tomorrow the day, or is there one more day?
Well then.
Yeah, let's hang out with him. Ugh, fine.
All right.
Woo! I don't know what this means at all, to be honest.
All right.
See ya.
Hey.
I'm sorry I can't offer more reassurance, but he should have the change of heart.
He should. Hopefully.
Let's just believe.
Well then. Hey.
I just want to get this over with. Hell yes. What a great dream to have. Oh boy.
This is no good.
What's with the sudden morning assembly?
I bet it's about that girl that jumped the other day.
Whoa, damn, that's fucked up.
They don't have to tell us not to commit suicide.
There was that weird calling card too, so I guess we're lucky that morning practice got canceled though.
I feel like I'm gonna faint if this takes forever.
Let's begin this school-wide morning assembly. As you all know, a tragic... Thankfully, we have been informed that she has... Everyone here has a bright future ahead. Mr. Kamoshida, what's the... I have been reborn.
Oh my god.
That is why...
Huh? What's wrong with Mr. Kamoshida?
What's this about?
Confess? Did the volleyball team do something?
I have repeatedly verbally abusing students, physically abusing my team, and sexually harassing female students. I am the reason why Shiho Suzui tried to kill herself.
Damn!
Sexual harassment? What? Why would he say that himself?
He is
Volleyball
the
team?
worst.
Really? Physical abuse?
I thought of this school as my own castle. There were even students that I sentenced to expulsion, simply because I didn't like them. I will, of course, I am truly sorry for putting innocent youths through such horrible acts. I am an arrogant, shallow, and shameful person. I will take responsibility. I kill myself for it.
I knew it!
Did he just say that?
Wait, kill himself?
Do it in front of all the kids right now.
Not well.
Mr. Kamoshida, please get off the stage for now. Everyone, return to your classes.
Don't run, you bastard! Shiho's still alive, even if you have no.
You're right. I should be. I did horrible things to Takamaki-san as well. In return for giving Suzui-san a position on the team, I tried to force her into having relations.
Disgusting.
For a position on the team?
I feel so bad for
So the rumors
Takamaki-san.
weren't true.
As of today, I will resign from my position as an instructor and turn myself in.
Fuck yeah, you will.
The police?
Is he for real? He's gonna
Wow.
get arrested?
This morning's assembly is over. Return.
Isn't this just like what that calling card said?
Does this mean the Phantom Thieves thing was for real?
Was something done to Kama?
Come on, there's no way you could steal someone.
But why else would he start saying things like he'll kill himself or turn himself?
Maybe because it almost got leaked. Don't they go easier on you if you turn yourself in?
I wonder what happened.
Who knows? But man, Kamoshida turned out to be one sick bastard.
Hey, is this for real? He's turning himself in just like that? What's going to happen to the
You
volleyball
think Team Barassi will show up
This
now?
is gonna be a
Return to your classrooms at once.
His heart really did change.
Seems like it. But was this really for the best?
I mean, I would have preferred if he fucking, like, on stage, you know, but that's my personal opinion, I guess.
You mean the police stuff? Well, that's true. Huh? What the? Takamaki-san, I'm sorry.
Huh?
We all knew, but we pretended we didn't.
Takamaki-san, I had you all wrong. I'm sorry that I spread rumors about you.
I didn't know at all. Kamoshida was forcefully pushing himself on you. It must have been so hard for you.
I'm sure there's a ton of people who want to apologize to you. We're so sorry. Besides, that's all in the past now.
Hey, you there! Return to class at once.
Well, see you later then.
I can't apologize enough for what I did to you. I swear I'll. Looks like Kamoshida ain't the only one that had a change of heart. Man, I'm glad for you. Looks like those weird rumors are gonna go away.
My thing doesn't really matter.
You should hurry and tell her about it then.
Yeah.
I totally freaked out. He really did have a change of heart. And we were lucky his mind didn't get messed up either. This was an A+ job.
Does this mean that they won't have a mental shutdown even if their palace disappears? I see. So we need to persuade the shadow without killing it, and then send it back to its real self. Our targets won't undergo a cognitive collapse if we do that.
So we can get him to confess with no bad stuff? Hey, that works for me.
Oh, he did say he was gonna kill
Do you
himself.
have to be so loud?
Don't worry about it. So, how'd it go? With Shiho, I mean.
She's regained consciousness.
Let's go.
For real?
It was only for a little bit, but I got to talk to her. I was able to tell her that Kamoshida admitted to what he did. Shiho, she told me she was sorry. Looks like she found out that I was flirting with Kamoshida for her sake. And here I was, wanting to apologize to her.
Kamoshida's at fault for all this.
Yeah,
I know.
he is.
Shiho's mom is thinking
Fuck
of
that
transferring
guy.
her to another school. The whole sexual harassment and attempted suicide. People will label her after that. Sounded like but I think it's for the best.
She's alive.
I need to change.
That aside, I was surprised you could...
It wasn't like that. I just wanted Kamoshida to apologize himself.
You're so
No matter how much of a shitbag he was, finishing him...
Huh? I think revenge is better served if I make... Realizing what he's done, he'll grovel for forgiveness the rest of it. I just believe... there...
Holy... But, you know, there was one more thing I was wondering about that castle. Why was Kamoshida the only one who had that metaverse thing?
It isn't necessarily limited to him. It's something anyone could have, if their heart became warped from their desires.
Anyone.
Wanna check it out?
Not right now. We better lay low for a... Then again, it's totally impossible for someone to find out what...
Yeah, about that... Stuff like you got together and threatened Kamoshida with something close to physical violence.
The hell?
People aren't going to easily believe that calling cards being treated like it was a prank by someone who knew what Kamoshida was doing.
We're the ones who did it, and I still don't completely believe...
Let's wait for things to...
Anyways, it'd be better if we... Ooh, got it! Wait, 30,000 yen? That's all a gold medal's worth?
Remember that time in middle school?
There's no way I borrowed 30,000 yen from you.
Wouldn't it be around that much with compounded interest?
Interest my...
I'm not saying that I'm taking all... I mean, it's your fault for not paying me back.
I agree on laying... However, you dragged me into this.
I guess we...
I guess...
What?
It's a place Shiho and I have...
You good with that?
Fine by me.
I'll leave it to...
I'll call and check the price.
When?
It'll help.
So, leave that to us. We know a store that'll buy anything, don't we?
Okay.
Do
I'll
I?
leave that to you guys.
I haven't really been paying attention to that kind of stuff. Maybe the second-hand shop?
Ah, you're back.
No, that one is a fake. The real medal should still be... Kamoshida will never be proud of that once-in-a-lifetime gold medal ever again. Depending on how you look at it,
Well, I'll just sell the medal if I can. Second-hand shop would be the place to do that, right?
Welcome.
This guy was.
What would you like?
How do I sell things? I don't get it.
Hey! Okay.
How do I pawn this metal off? I don't.
Sorry, I kind of prepped.
And now to our next topic, Fall from Grace, the story of a dishonored Olympic medalist. Just recently, a high school coach confessed at an assembly that he had been repeatedly abusing students. Given his prior Olympic achievements, this has caused quite a stir. What caused this habitual offender to suddenly confess these heinous crimes to his entire school? The police are hoping that the upcoming interrogations will bring light to this question.
Isn't this...
My friends would come back from practice with bruises all the time. It was scary, but I'm relieved that the abuse is finally going to end now.
He would touch me and stuff all the time. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that sexual harassment anymore. There were always rumors, sure. Not many people believed them, though. Like, I'm totally shocked they were actually true. At least now I can go to school without worrying.
I knew it. This is your school, isn't it?
That's it, man. Seems like it.
Things might be getting turbulent at school, but you need to just keep your head down, all right? More importantly, keep those hands moving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anything you ask.
Man.
Why does everyone want to talk to me? Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Where do I sell this? Not the sizzle.
Okay.
Block 'em. I shouldn't I? Is that even an option? I don't think they give me that option, unfortunately. Talk to our cat.
Nice.
Okay.
Hey.
Not the sizzle. What is up? I'm stumbling my way through Persona 5. What?
Hey.
My cat isn't even allowing me to go outside? Dude. Oh, it's already the evening. What the hell?
Okay.
This is my first Persona game.
Yes.
I think I'm getting pretty good at it though. Figuring it out. I'm trying to get my guts up so I can start taking medicines. Or I can be a guinea pig, they called it.
Well then.
Make sure to do the...
Dang, it's Star Wars Day in the game. Make sure to do the dishes.
Just don't get caught. Welcome.
What?
Am I interrupting something?
She's the lady
Not
that's
at all.
interviewing me right now, or
The cause
whatever.
of the runaway train incident in the subway the other day still has not been found. Police are hurrying to solve the matter as it may relate to the rise in psychotic breakdown incidents.
Oh, is that the thing everyone's been talking about?
Doesn't it make you curious? People who were living normal lives suddenly went mad or deranged out of the blue. Not to mention that it's happening one after another. Could they really be coincidental?
Leaving that aside, what do you have?
I'll have the house blend, please. Are you a part-timer? I'm surprised this place can afford one.
Damn! What the fuck?
No, not exactly.
Lady coming in hot with the
Are you a high
insults.
school student? Where do you attend?
I attend the pedophile academy, where all the teachers are pedophiles. That's not an option. Okay, I guess I'll say Shujin Academy.
Oh, someone I know goes there as well. I've heard that things are rough right now.
Well, you know, one of our
teacher named
teachers.
Kamoshida confessed his crimes like he was a completely different person, supposedly. And it happened all of a sudden one day. Can a person's mental state change so easily?
Huh.
Is my drink ready yet?
Coming right up.
She just knows everything. Why is she even asking me questions?
All right. Today's the day we turn in that metal for you know someplace that'll buy.
Oh, well, I thought the secondhand store would buy it from me. I thought this place. Oh, okay, yeah, he would.
Oh,
Alright, I gotta go to the. Where's the airsoft shop again? How do I get there? It's crazy. It's harder to get around in Persona than it is like actually if you were in Japan. It's ridiculous. I guess I'll hop on a train.
Shibuya. This is Shibuya.
There it is. Found him. Why can I not fast travel there today?
Huh? Hey.
Oh well, I tried. What's 30,000 yen? Like $210 or something? What's your attitude?
See ya.
What were those More importantly,
He told us not to look. Listen, man, I got...
there's no harm in a little peek.
No.
Come on,
Dude, what the fuck?
a real gun? Wait, I think it's just a model. It's incredible, though. Miles ahead of the one. There's something weird about. Hey, I just had a great idea. I mean, it's something this real. Look, anyway, he told you to bring it. You should try striking a deal with him.
I got a feeling that's a real gun. And he didn't want those cops to find it.
Oh, I saw the news. It's getting a lot.
Serves him right.
I'm still. The reaction's been bigger than what. I don't think we did anything wrong, though. I wonder if we helped those people speak up about it.
I'm sure we did.
That's pretty amazing, huh? I didn't think we'd actually be able to do it. And yet, look at us now. This calls for a celebration. Let's meet in front of Shibuya Station at noon tomorrow. Don't be late. Oh, and did you pawn off that medal? Good to hear. Well?
Ah, a restaurant of Lady Ann's. Hey, what do you think? Ooh, tuna. In any case.
I'll just add this.